Welcome back to another video on the channel. In this one I'm going to be reviewing the round 2 matches of the Cincinnati Open on the both men's and women's side. From this day on I will be doing daily videos on the Cincinnati Open. When it gets to semi-final and final stages I will do videos previewing both semi-finals and finals on the men's and women's side, and then obviously going into the final I'll do the same. But for today we're looking back on round 2 that happened yesterday. And kicking things off with a major shock with the exit of Dominic Thiem to the hands of Filip Reinitch, 6-2, 6-1, and a very worrying performance from Dominic Thiem. He's had a fantastic past couple of years, reaching the finals of the French, reaching the final this year as Australian Open, and with the withdrawals of Roger and Rafa, I think Dominic Thiem came to these events in Cincinnati and New York his second favourite. He was bang there. People expect him to be there at the business end of the tournaments against the likes of Medvedev, Tsitsipas, Djokovic, and last night was a very win performance for me. He just didn't look good at all, losing 6-2, 6-1, and without taking anything away from Krajinovic, he played fantastically well. I thought he was superb throughout, but Dominic Thiem should not be getting rolled over off a player like Filip Krajinovic. And for me, about Thiem, it wasn't even the scoreline. It was more his tactics during the match, and he just looked like he didn't want to be there for some reason or another. He said after the match that it wasn't a fitness issue, but he's got a real chance of winning his first Grand Slam without the likes of Roger and Rafa. He goes into the US Open as a second favourite, well, at least he would have before a performance like this. So it was very strange, and it was more of his tactics in match and in game playing that sort of worried me, and it was just a very strange performance from Dominic Thiem. He's usually ripping winners from the back of the court, defending well, rallying. For days like Dominic Thiem does, incredibly fit, sort of wears down opponents, and it wasn't there last night. His return game was very, very poor. Won 2 points against serve all night. And also in his service games, he's served and volleyed a lot, which is something I haven't seen Thiem do for a long, long time, and it certainly didn't work last night. He was slicing the backhand, which is something, again, that we don't see very often. He usually just rips them down the line or uses them to put his opponents under pressure. It was just sort of very strange, Dominic Thiem, very unlike him. And he said he's going to have to go back and sort of analyse what happened in the match, why it didn't work, but he's starting to undo all the good work that he's done over the past 18 months, developing a fantastic hardcore game. I think he went back to old habits, and just a slice backhand, as I say, serve and volley is just not how we expect to see Dominic Thiem playing. It's not how he's got where he's got. He didn't get to the final of the Australian Open by doing serve and volley or slicing the backhand. He got there by serving well, beating place in the back of the court, wearing down opponents over long matches, using the backhand to bully opponents and hit many winners, and it was just a very strange, un-Dominic Thiem-like performance really. But he's going to have to regroup and come again at the US Open, but not ideal preparations at all for Thiem going into the US Open. But all credit to Filip Krajinovic, as I say. It's alright to say Dominic Thiem didn't play well, and he certainly didn't, but Krajinovic took that with both hands and just dominated Thiem throughout and thought he deserved his win. Moving on to Milos Reinitch against Dan Evans, and I was massively impressed with Reinitch with this match. I thought Evans might nick a set or even a win. Evans had again a fantastic 18 months, and he just never really got into the Reinitch service games, and when Reinitch is serving like he is and hitting the ball as cleanly as he's always the danger on hard courts. We've seen over the years he's capable of runs at Grand Slams, obviously reaching that Wimbledon final before losing Andy Murray, and he's reached quarterfinals, semi-finals on a number of occasions. Reinitch lost his 4 points in serve last night, and although Evans played well, I thought he'd done well to hold his service games and stay in the match and just hope for a bad service game for Reinitch, but it just never really came. Evans couldn't get into the Reinitch service games, often using the kick serve out wide against a short opponent, which I thought worked well. Got the short ball, which Reinitch is solid around the net, very capable of putting balls away with his forehand and his volleying game. Evans just grew more and more frustrated. One bad service game from Evans each set, and then Reinitch just held serve so easily. Evans couldn't get a look in his service game, and there's not many players in the world that can sort of return Reinitch's serve with any real substance, other than the likes of Djokovic and Murray, Nadal. Then you're really struggling for a player that can return that Reinitch serves. If he's serving like he is, if he gets his return game going and strikes the ball off in the back of the court, then he's a massive danger to everybody in Cincinnati and the US Open. Moving on to Sasha's Vereev against Andy Murray, and this match was just crazy in many ways. The return of Andy Murray, and what a fantastic return. It's Andy Murray won the match in 3 sets, and it's undoubtedly his biggest win since his return, beating a top 10 player, and he moves on. He showed all the the hard work, determination and character that he always does during his matches, and that he has done throughout his career, and he was on the verge of losing that match, and you must say, rather than Murray winning it, I think Sasha threw it away. He led, I think it was 5-4 in the decider, serving out the match, and Vereev threw in 3 double faults, went to 5-5 and 6-5, and then Murray broke him again. Sasha threw in 2 more double faults and just sort of giving the game away. And as well as Murray did play, he's very good. I thought he moved particularly well, probably as good as I've seen him since the return of injury. His double-handed backhand looked very solid. The forehand didn't look great at times, hitting the net a lot, making a few too many unforced errors, but I'm sure with timing and more court time and playing high level opponents, that'll come back from Murray, and he'll get back to that level where he wants to be. But a fantastic win. But we must talk about Sasha's Vereev. He's a player that came through a couple of years ago and promised so much. Everybody tarnished him as the next big thing. He was going to win Grand Slams, be world number 1, and his career just seems to be going downhill for me. I mean, he was so disappointing last night. As I say, he had a chance to win the match. He was serving for the match, and he's got a massive first serve, and he just didn't seem to have any confidence in himself to win the match. No conviction. He was passive in the last few games and just sort of give the match away. Didn't do anything different to what we've seen from Vereev, and his game just doesn't seem to be developing. And I said on Twitter after the match, until he rectifies that forehand and second serve, he's got next to no chance of winning ever a Grand Slam ever. The likes of Nadal and THIEM and Murray, Wawrinka, Djokovic, the defence and consistency they've got, and the variations, they can just open up Vereev so easily. His forehand is so vulnerable. He made over 20 errors yesterday in the 3-set match just on his forehand. And his second serve needs so much work. I think he made over 10 double faults. And to me, it doesn't really look like he has a plan in the second serve. Sometimes he was trying to just use it as a second first serve and hitting like 140 mile/hour first serves down the tee, which he was missing in double faulting. By the end, he was just trying to roll it in. He was missing long. But Murray took huge advantage at second serve, and rightly so, but massively worrying times for Vereev. This has been a problem for the last 18 months. His forehand and his second serve, and he just doesn't seem to be addressing it. And when he comes up against a great returner like Andy, someone with variations like Andy who can see what's going wrong and see the vulnerabilities in his forehand, it's so easy for the top players to expose that. And for Vereev, as I say, if he doesn't rectify, not even try and rectify that forehand and second serve in the next couple of years, he's got next to no chance of being a Grand Slam champion. He's not going to be the top players, and there's going to be players like Medvedev, Tsitsipas, Aliassime that are going to improve past him, and it'd be a massive shame. His double-handed backhand and his first serve are good weapons, but that's not enough, and you need to be better all round. You need to be more consistent, and he's just a player that's making far too many errors and giving away too many cheap points to beat the top players. But yeah, massive work to do for Vereev. Needs to go back to the drawing board, I think, and really look at that forehand and second serve and come back. And he's still young. He might turn out to be a fantastic player. But for now, he looks a player there to beat for anybody inside the top 50. Really, his forehand's looking that poor at the moment. But moving on to the returning world number 1, currently still unbeaten, Novakovic, got a 7-6, 6-4 win over Berankis. Wasn't perfect, wasn't the vintage Djokovic that we sometimes expect to see, but ultimately job done. Moves on to the last 16 to face Tenny Sangren. Just needs to increase his first serve percentage. Really, I don't think he served well all last night. I think it was around 55% fair serves, but we know with Djokovic, when his serve gets in the first serve, he's probably the best player in the world at constructing points from that. So I think as soon as the first serve moves up to the mid 60s, early 70s, I must see Djokovic back to his best. But on the whole, a good test. I thought Berankis done well throughout. Gives Djokovic court time, which is probably the best thing for him to get back into full form going into the back end of this week, and also starting the US Open. But I'm sure he'll continue to improve as the weeks progress. Also wins for Goffin, Medvedev and Khachanov. But moving on to the women's side now, Jo Konta with the 6-2 6-love win over Kirsten Flipkens, and I thought Konta was fantastic yesterday. Her serve was brilliant, winning 18 out of 21 first serve points. Also adopted a very aggressive second serve, which worked very well. It's always been criticised in the past, Konta's second serve, and with that many good returners in the women's tour now, it's important you have that second serve, and she certainly showed yesterday that she's been working on it, and it fared very well for her. She striked very well from the back of the court, and she was just overall too good for Flipkens to blow her away in every sense. The big question now is for Konta. We've seen this before. She plays like this for a week or two, and looks one of the best players in the world, and shows that she's got all the capabilities to beat anybody in the world, but can she maintain it? She's been inconsistent throughout her career. It'd be brilliant if Jo could put a real run together and play this for a long period of time, and who knows where it could take her. But moving on now to Naomi Osaka, another returning Grand Slam champion. Got a 3-set win over Muchova, and it was a fantastic match. I thought Muchova played very well, but it was great to see Osaka back playing like she did, fighting hard, and with that, just playing well with that relentless aggressive style again. She looked back to the player that she was in 2018. She's a joy to watch, and she's like that, striking the ball so well, being so aggressive, hitting winners from all angles, and making the game look so easy at times. What I liked about Osaka last night, I think she done well mentally. It was a tough opening set, which she lost narrowly. She didn't play bad, but I think in the past sort of 8 to 8 months, she's been expecting of herself too much on court, trying not to make any mistakes at all. One bad point sort of beat herself up on the court and go through a run of 3 or 4 games where she just doesn't. She's not there, and she just throws sets away. But last night, if she played a bad point, she just seemed to take a moment, just reset herself, take each point as it comes, and she played brilliantly in the final 2 sets to get that win, 6-7, 6-4, 6-2 in the end. And I was impressed with her mentally that she just sort of reset, didn't panic when playing a bad point, and just got back to basics and got back to playing her shots, and she done very well. And I think it was a great win for her confidence-wise to come from behind. It would be great if she could make a major run this week. Moves on to face Diana Yastremska in round 4. And lastly, looking at Serena Williams, who survived a major scare against the Russian Rus. She led 5-2 in the deciding set, and the game looked done before she just really lost her way, lost the grip of the match. Rus played very well, came back into it, and actually served for the match at 6-5. And then Serena sort of kicked into gear again, realised that she had to start playing. She threw 4 games away, more or less. But champions always find a way, and she done that. She played a fantastic game at 5-6 to level. And Rus unfortunately just didn't turn up in the deciding match tiebreak. I think Serena ran out with 7-0 win in the end. But she found a way. She's still not the best, like many other players aren't. But in the day she got the win. Worked one leg, got the job done. Moves on to round 4 to face a very tough player, Marie Sakkari, and also looking ahead, wins for Azarenka, who's looking great this week on Jabeur, beat Madison Keys in straight sets. Wins for Marie Sakkari, Elise Mertens, and also Arina Sabalenka. So the women's draw is shaping up to be very, very exciting. Looking at the last 16 games today, the highlight games are obviously Murray Reinitch, the repeat of that Wimbledon final. It'll be interesting to see how Murray returns against that fantastic server Reinitch. Is Murray okay physically? He played a long, tough match yesterday against Vereev. How is he going to hold up today, playing the following day against another tough player, Milos Reinitch? John Isner and Stefano Tsitsipas face off. Obviously 2 huge guys, huge massive serves. Has Tsitsipas improved players at that level yet? We'll find out today, but he's looked fantastic this week. Jo Konta faces Vereev. you know, can't fancy yourself to come through that match. If she can repeat the performance that you put in yesterday, then you know you fully expect Joe to just keep winning and winning. You know, it's only the top players that you think would be favourites against Joe playing like she did yesterday. Osaka, Yastremska, two fantastic young players that'll, you know, almost hit the white off the ball. And if them two turn up, that could be a thriller. And also Marisa Kari against Serena Williams. You know, I think it's a 50-50 match. The way Serena played yesterday wasn't fantastic. Marisa Kari is a fantastic young talent coming through from Greece. We'll be full of confidence going into that one. But yeah, thanks for watching the video. As I say, I will be back tomorrow with another video reviewing these round 4 matches and also looking ahead to the quarterfinals, and when I get to semi-finals and final stages I'll be doing full previews and predictions of those matches. But subscribe if you are interested in wanting to follow the Cincinnati Open and also the US Open. I will be doing my full preview and prediction ahead of the US Open very soon. Also doing daily uploads throughout that tournament with it being a Grand Slam. So enjoy the tennis today if you catch it. It is live on Amazon Prime. But thanks for watching my video. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.